Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to welcome you today to the Museum of Fine Arts Ghent, also known as the MSK, a museum that is very dear to my heart. Over the past few years, I have been working to increase the visibility of women artists within the museum's program and collection. And one of the outcomes of this effort is the exhibition Unforgettable, Women Artists from Antwerp to Amsterdam, 1600 to 1750. The exhibition opened to the public on March 7th, following more than 3 years of research and preparation. It has been a most interesting and intense journey to bring this project to life. And today I'm delighted to offer you an introduction to the exhibition, sharing some insights into its origins and the ideas that shaped its concept. And I promise I will keep it short so that you will have plenty of time to visit the show. Since 2016, increasing the visibility of women artists has been formally integrated into the MSK's policy and has become an important focus of the museum. Over the past decade, themes related to feminism and gender equality have become increasingly present in public discourse. And as a Museum of Fine Arts, we see it as our role to approach art not only from a purely art historical perspective, but also through broader interpretive lenses. By engaging with artworks and their stories, we seek to shed light on the past and to show how certain perspectives, norms, and social expectations have developed over time. In doing so, we aim to create meaningful connections between past and present. In 2018, at a time when women artists were not yet prominently featured on museum programming agendas here in Belgium, we organized the Ladies of the Baroque, an exhibition on 17th century Italian women painters curated by my former colleague Valentine de Beer and guest curators Francesco Solinas and Alain Tapier, showcasing works by, among others, Artemisia Gentileschi, Sofonisba Anguissola, and Lavinia Fontana. And the exhibition was very well received by the public, and we felt it would be interesting to build on this with a follow-up, this time focusing on women artists from our own region, the historical Low Countries, or present-day Belgium and the Netherlands. It was Professor Catherine Powell-Warren, now at Catholic University of Leuven, who introduced me to Virginia, also known as Jenny Trainer, senior curator at the National Museum of Women in the Arts in Washington, D.C., a private museum founded by Wilhelmina Holliday to champion women through the arts. And Jenny had curated a small presentation on 17th century women artists in the Low Countries from the ANMA collection, which was very well received, and she noticed that an overview exhibition on this topic was still missing. So we decided to join forces. And I'm stating absolutely nothing new when I say that between 1600 and 1750, women played an important role in the artistic life of the Low Countries. Nevertheless, our appreciation of Flemish and Dutch art is still largely shaped by male painters of the period, mainly big names such as Pieter Paul Rubens, Antonie van Dyck, and Johannes Vermeer. Fantastic artists, of course, to whom major blockbuster exhibitions have repeatedly been dedicated. Exhibitions, as we all realize, are an extremely important instrument to create public awareness. What museums choose to program and present has a real impact. In recent years, there has, rightly, been growing attention for women artists active during the long 17th century. In Belgium, there was Alexijn Waarom, curated by Katelijne van der Stichelen and Mirjam Westen, and held at the Royal Museum of Fine Arts in Antwerp in 1999. It was the first exhibition devoted to women artists from Belgium and the Netherlands. If you take a closer look at the exhibitions that have been on view over the past decade, two main categories can be distinguished: the monographic exhibition and the group exhibition. And monographic exhibitions are absolutely necessary for a number of reasons. In Belgium, we only had two: the one at Snijders Rokokshuis, dedicated to Clara Peters, and the one at the Maas, Museum aan de Stroom, dedicated to Michelina Wautier, and again, curated by Katelijne van der Stichelen. Yet, they can leave the impression with the audience that these women were isolated exceptions. Recent group exhibitions, such as the wonderful Maestras, held at the Museo Nacional Thyssen-Bornemisza, and Making Her Mark, presented at the Baltimore Museum of Art and the Art Gallery of Ontario, likewise have enormous merits. What did strike me, however, was the very broad chronological and cultural geographical scope that these exhibitions set out to cover and present. At this time, it was necessary to create awareness, but the time is there to come to have a next step. Building on this, we decided for Unforgettable to create a group exhibition with a clearly defined scope, the period 1600 to 1750, and focusing on the Low Countries. Inspired by the exhibition Making Her Mark, we expanded our focus beyond painting to include prints, drawings, paper cutting, sculpture, calligraphy, and lacework. And this approach allowed us to provide depth rather than breadth, offering the public a richer understanding of artistic practices and developments and the social norms and expectations of the time. Moreover, we felt that in this way we could also highlight the different type of networks in which women artists circulated and challenge the perception of exceptionalism by showing that these women were not isolated anomalies, but active and integral contributors to the artistic economy and culture of their time. The exhibition first opened last September at NY in Washington, and some of you may have seen it there, perhaps during the CODART Focus event in Washington. The project grew out of several years of research that Jenny and I carried out together with our teams. And throughout this process, we were also supported by an advisory panel of pioneers in the study of women artists. Some of them are here present: Judith Noorman, Elisabeth Honig, Frima Fox-Hofrichter, Kathleen de van der Stichelen, and also had tremendous support of our former director, Manfred Selling. Along the way, we made many study visits and even undertook a tour of the Netherlands. And everywhere we went, from the Fries Museum to the Amsterdam Museum, we were warmly welcomed by many of you in this room. The exhibition in Washington and the one here share the same overarching narrative, as well as a catalogue and 40 loans. But at the same time, Jenny and I each curated the exhibition for our own museum and audience. Here at the MSK, that has resulted in a presentation of 143 artistic objects created by no fewer than 43 women artists. The exhibition is conceived as a meandering path through 7 themes. You can see them on the screen, and ranges from the intimate worlds of the artists to the broader cultural and socio-economic context in which they were active. The path, which we have constructed physically in the gallery rooms, served as a metaphor for the importance of nuance and perspective in the study of art history. It is meant to remind us that art can never be fully understood through a single source, a single medium, or a single gender. Finally, the exhibition reflects on the legacy of these women and considers how it can be made not only visible, but truly unforgettable. As a prelude and epilogue at the same time of the exhibition, 9 contemporary women artists created an installation in the museum's forum space to address the invisibility of all the women artists whose names can no longer be traced. The artwork that you encountered walking into the museum is titled X, and it emphasizes the artists' shared position as women in the art world and makes their connection to historical women artists visible. By hand, they painted 179 names of historical women artists from the Low Countries onto latex strips. And the blank strips symbolize the women who remain invisible to this day. The result is a powerful work that literally places weight on the shoulders of those who walk beneath it and reminds us that the finish line regarding our knowledge on and the visibility of women artists is still not in sight. I wish you all a very pleasant visit to the exhibition, and Jenny and my colleague Ines and I will be present in the exhibition to answer all of your questions. Thank you.